G'day guys, welcome back to another episode with Handcrafted by Terry G. G'day guys, Terry here. Welcome if you're new, and if you're regular, great to have you back again. Hey, we're on location at the moment. We've called in and seen Phil. And if you watched my video previously, Phil and I actually programmed the inverter charger and the DC-DC Renogy charger in my scenic caravan. So thanks heaps for that, Phil. It's absolutely magnificent, mate, on what you've done so far. So we're here over at Phil's at the moment, and returning the favour back to Phil, he's asked me, Terry, can you replace the bearings on my ModCon 2018 camper trailer? And I said, yeah, no worries, Phil. And Phil's just been explaining to me, he's taken it down to the brake shop here in Bundaberg, and they've turned around to him and said, mate, we can't get these cups out of your drums. And he was very, very concerned and all of that, and he rings me up and he says, Terry, I don't know what to do. The guys at the brake shop can't get them out. I said, leave it with me, Phil, and we'll get it done for you. So come over, guys. I'll show you what I've done so far. So I've punched out his old bearing cup, and here's his old cup here, and he's gone, Terry, that is phenomenal. How the hell did you get that out? I cannot believe it. And I said, Phil,
it's true.
It's me you're talking to, right? Handcrafted by Terry G. All the old name was Master of all trades, you know, so get that one in here. So we've just punched out his bearing cup, guys, and I'm going to show you how to replace the bearings in his camper trailer. So it's very, very easy. So we punched the old ones out, and I've reseated his new cup in there, guys. And I just want to show you how to seat your cups properly into your drums. So what I've got here is I've got a flat punch, and I actually ground that down so it's nice and flat, and you sort of got like a little bit of a burr on the edge of it. And so what I'm going to do is I've got a ballpoint hammer, right? And I'm actually going to put it on top of the cup face. And what I mean by a cup face, here's Phil's old bearing, right? And that's the cup face on top of the actual bearing cup itself. So you've got to be very careful when you're using punches with bearings that you don't damage the inner face, because that's what the bearings are actually going to be riding on. So here we are with Phil's bearing, Phil's drum, right? So what I'm going to do is hold the hammer up close, and I'm actually going to go around in circles with the punch. Now what you want to do is go down until that base of the bearing here, which is that piece here, which is actually seated with your drum. And you can actually feel that. Phil, if you put your finger in there, mate, you'll actually feel the seat of the drum.
I can see it.
You can see it?
Yep.
So that's,
it's obvious.
You got to have your bearings seated down to that size of the cup, mate. So we'll run around gently. And this is the wrong table to do it on, guys. We're working on a plastic table. So the whole lot is bouncing. So when I'm actually going around with the cup, guys, I'm actually forcing this punch into the edge of the drum here as I'm going around. Now soon you're actually going to hear a different tone of the punch, and that's when you know it's seated. A little bit more, guys. Now, did you hear that thud?
Yeah.
Now, that's how you know that the bearing cup is seated into your drum. Rightio guys, and that's how you seat your first bearing cup. Okay, so the next step we're going to do, guys, is we're going to pack our bearings now. Now, Phil's got some bearings somewhere.
Inside the box.
Inside the box
I
here.
didn't want to mix them with the old ones.
Okay, so...
So there's the little ones inside the box there.
Right, so we need this fella here, and we need this fella here.
Yeah.
Right?
If you don't want to get grease in your hands, so I can put grease
Okay.
on my hands.
So guys, when you buy your bearing kits, it'll actually come with your big bearing.
Grease lightning.
It'll come with your small bearing. Now what Phil's got here, is this the Holden bearing kit, mate, or the Ford Slimline?
I don't know. All I know is it's a Modcon camper trailer.
Okay, so yeah, normally you can tell by the numbers on the actual face of the bearing. So if Phil goes back to this video in time, and he can actually tell if they're a Ford or a Holden bearing, but there's also quite larger bearings like this fella here, and these are the ones that I use in my scenic caravan, guys. So I use two of them, one at the front and one at the back of the actual drum itself, and look how solid and big those ones are.
They're Chinese.
Yeah, those ones are.
These are Japanese.
So these are the ones I recommended to Phil, so that way he's got some good bearings. So we'll start you off on how to pack these bearings properly, hey Phil?
Yeah.
So your tub of grease, mate, whereabouts is that, mate?
Yep, you'll have to grab this.
Okay.
And this will impress you.
Yep. So Phil's getting his tub of grease, and I've asked him to get the what they call the Timkins brand, which is a red and black label in a drum. But if not, he's probably got something here.
That's the thing that just went, boo, I couldn't get put it back.
Guys, if you're looking at what I'm looking at the moment, right, is something in a tube. You don't have it in a bucket?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, so I finally got Phil's grease gun working, and he goes, how'd you do that? And I actually pulled the lever back, and there's a little slot here where you actually lock your grease gun into place. So it's very, very easy, Phil, and I'll show you how to do it again. You grab the grease gun like so, grab your two fingers like that, hold it down, right, and pull it back and across. And that locks it out, so you can change your gun.
Put your gun in there.
Yeah, when you want to release it, tap it back, slide it in, and away you go again. All right, so teaching you how to pack bearings with grease. Now it's very, very simple, guys. So what you want to do is you want to actually put the grease in the palm of your hand like so, right? And you got your bearing. Now there's devices out there, guys. You can buy them on eBay or Super Cheap and places like that. It's a little cup. You put your, whoop, there goes the bearing.
My new Japanese bearing.
We'll edit that bit out. But anyhow, you got your bearing, right? And you can use these different cups, and you actually put the cup inside, grab your grease gun, give it a few squirts, and it actually puts the grease into your bearing itself. But we don't have one of them, so I'm going to show you how the old way how to pack bearings. And it's very, very easy, guys. So we'll get some grease into our hand.
Oh, my grease gun works. Does it work?
Slowly. If you want to hold that for me, and I'll pump it in my hand. Yep.
I'll be able to grease all the nipples on the camper trailer. Actually, I should say I'll be able to grease all the grease nipples on the camper trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to edit that one out a bit.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of grease in our hand at the moment.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to slap it.
And now it's got the tactic of slapping.
Get it in there, get the grease in there, like so. So we haven't got much grease.
Well, all that grease has disappeared.
Yep, hold it again.
We have to pump it again.
That's a bodgy grease gun, Phil.
Pump it good.
Okay, so we got the grease out of the grease gun. And what you're going to do now
Grease
is
lightning.
you're gonna slap the grease into it like so, all the way around it.
Just slap some in your hair too.
Hey,
In your hair too.
in my hair. Good for the hair. Hey, you could be like what they are on Grease. Remember the old movie Grease?
Grease lightning.
Hey, okay. So we got our first bearing packed. So there's our first one, and we're just gonna set him on the table.
Oh, not now. That's the old one.
That's the old one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to set him there.
Yep.
Right, and I'm going to try and get most of this grease off my hands now. Okay, so we put our first one in, right, and we packed our bearing. Now we're going to turn the drum over, guys, and then seat our larger cup into our drum. And it's very, very easy. Pick your drum up, be careful with it, flip it over. Just have a look inside your drum too, guys. Make sure that there's no sharp burrs or anything like that where your cup's going to be seated. Have a look around the edge of your drum too, right? And make sure that your drum isn't glazed. If it's glazed, get a bit of sandpaper and just go around it like so, just to rough it up, right? And what that's going to do, that's going to help actually with your brakes when you're applying your brakes, and it's actually going to, your brake pads are going to be able to resurface where you've scratched out. So it's very, very easy. Just go around like so, right? And that get rid of any sharp edges or anything like that the brake pads are actually left behind. Rightio, guys, the next step. Okay, grab your bearing cup, right? And this time you're actually going to have this side facing down in the actual place itself, right? Push it in as far as you can get it. And this one should actually slip in quite easy. Right, so the next step is grab our punch and our ballpoint hammer. We're just going to go around and make sure it's properly seated. Right, which it is, which is good. Okay, for the next step, we get our big bearing. Here's our big bearing like so. Right, grab some grease.
And the Japanese bearings too.
Right, so you don't need much, right?
Not like before.
And you're actually going to slap it in, right?
So that's what Terry's doing. He's slapping the grease in between the rollers, inside the rollers.
That's right. So you want it in there good, nicely. So that way your bearings, give it actually a spin as well, to help get that grease circulated through the actual bearing cup as well, right? So we're applying some more on there, right? And you want to give it a good grease up, guys, to get that grease in there. Like so. See how I'm pushing the grease in, Phil, with me thumb?
Yeah.
Right? And you'll actually see it'll be spurting on the outside of here soon. All right. So that's our bearing done. All right, so we're going to drop our large bearing in now to our cup, like so. Grab a rag.
You don't put more grease in there?
Not yet. So I'm just going to wash my hands from the excess grease off. Guys, I normally use, you know those disposable gloves? I normally use them. But unfortunately, we couldn't get any disposable gloves
guys,
here.
This is Bundy here, guys. You can't get them outside.
No.
Not for a long time.
So it's gone backwards, really. As soon as COVID hit, really, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah.
Everything's gone backwards.
Yeah, remember at one stage here we couldn't get toilet paper?
Yeah.
And everyone was panic buying and buying all the toilet
That's
paper,
it.
and then there was no toilet paper on the shelves.
No, that's
Yeah.
right. So the next step is
So
we got our
It was
we
a
got our
very
seal.
shitty situation.
It is, yeah. So we've got our seal now to go over top of
So
our.
that's a dust cover seal, isn't it?
That's the grease seal.
Grease
so what we're
seal.
going to do is we're going to seat that now, right, with our ballpoint hammer.
So when he says seat, that's what he's doing now. So we're not actually sitting down.
So you want to go all the way so it's flush with that lip here.
So that's a tight seal, that one.
So I'm going to get my ballpoint and go around with it.
Look at a pretty colour it is. How awesome. This is very educational today, Terry.
It is, isn't it, mate?
Yeah. Oh, yep, I heard that noise.
Yeah, just a little bit more on this side, right? And I'm actually running my finger around there too, Phil, and making sure that it's flat all the way along, right? So the next bit we're going to do, so we're going to flip the drum back
Flip
over.
it over and we do the other side.
And we're going to
Put the bearings in the other side. There it is. There's
our
a big
other
blob
bearing.
of blue
Yep.
grease.
Okay, the most important thing, guys, don't fill your drums up with too much grease. If you fill them up
Really?
with grease, right, what actually happens, the grease will actually liquefy within the drum and spurt out everywhere. And we don't want that. So inside this part here, Phil, if you shine the camera down, we're only going to put a little bit of grease in the actual drum itself. Because our main bearings is already been well greased, right? Just a tiny bit of grease actually in there. So all you do is just grab a bit of grease on your finger like so, right? And I just want you to go around and just drop some in, right? A little bit more. Like that. That is ample enough of grease.
Yeah, okay.
All right. You don't want to overfill them because what happens, steam will actually pressurize with the grease because of the heat. And then you'll end up blowing seals and all like that out. You don't want to do that. So you only want a little tiny bit really of grease, just half enough to fill the base of the drum. So when it liquefies, it goes to both sides and it goes onto the axles quite nicely. So the next bit is we're going to get our small bearing and we're just going to seat that into the cup like so and just go along and just clean up the excess grease out of it. So that way we've got a nice clean surface. And you'll go through plenty of rags too, guys, when you do a job like this.
Yeah, it's a crappy job, guys.
But if you don't feel confident enough to change bearings in your caravan or your camper trailer or your motorhome or anything like that, do seek professionals to do it. I've been changing bearings for many, many years, Phil, especially on cars. My caravan, I've owned the Roadstar van that we used to have for over 15 years.
Yeah.
And this caravan now we just bought through COVID, which is about pretty close to 3-year-old as well now. So, yeah. Okay, let's get this back on the ModCon. Cheers, guys. Okay, guys, we're here at the ModCon, and we're just going to have a look at the axle. Make sure that the axle is still in really good condition, which there's no deep grooves or anything like that from the old bearings. Checking our brake pads and just having a look. The brake pads are wearing okay. There's a little bit of warpage within the drums that I can see off the brake pads, but the brake pads look pretty good. Down the bottom is what they call the magneto, and the magneto is actually your electric brakes. So when you apply your brakes and you get power from your brake controller, that magneto will actually ride along the face of your drum, and that way that slows, pushes this arm out and actually forces your brake pads into your drum like so. Very, very easy to change, Phil, with your brake pads. They got 2 little springs either side, so you just get some long nose pliers and you pop those springs out, and just be careful that when you release your brake pads, and then slot your new ones back in, and then you put your retainers back on your drums fairly easy. But what I can see, mate, is everything looks pretty good. Your axle looks in fairly good condition as well. There's no deep grooves or anything like that. There's a little bit of burn mark I can see around the back from where the bearing at the back's been riding.
Yeah.
But it's nothing important to worry about that. On the front of the axle, I'm just having a look around about the section here. There's a little scorch marks here and there, but nothing to be concerned about either, mate. your threads and all like that on your axle as well. Yeah, looks okay. Might be best later down the track if you've got like a copper wire brush. Just go over your threads and just clean your threads up, mate. Because what I can see, they're a little bit gummed up.
Yeah.
But other than that, mate, it looks like it's wearing fairly good on this side. Just having a look at your lower control arm there, because you got independent suspension. So having a look at around where your bushes and all like that is, they look fairly good. Your bushes on your shockies is all fine. The upper and lower bush, well, I can see that there's a bit of splittage on the upper bush. You might have to replace that a little bit down the track.
Yep.
But I want you to keep your eye on that, mate.
Yep.
It's only just to hold your spring in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you wouldn't want the spring to fall off, would you?
No, that's exactly right. So the next step we're going to do now is we're going to grab our drum and we're going to slot that on and get it all bolted up for him, ready for his tyre to slip back on. So I'll grab the drum.
Battery's got 3% left.
Okay.
It's going to turn off.
So I've got his drum, I've got the nut, and I've got the drum. So I'll come over. And what I'm going to do now, Phil, is I'm going to put the drum back on, like so. Like that. Push your thumb and your bearing in, so it goes in. That one's a bit of a hard one, so I need me tools. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to seat this bearing in. So don't hit on the side of the bearing, always hit on the inner face, because that's where your bearing's going to be. All right. Is your brakes on?
No.
No?
No, I released them.
Okay. So guys, it'll come with a washer. And normally some washers have got keys in the middle of it. There'll be a little piece just in here. Phil doesn't actually have one on his. So grab your nut.
I've got no keys on my washer.
So your nut will go in. Now the next step you're going to do is you're going to tighten this up. Okay, so we're going to put on the crown nut now.
It looks like a crown.
Certainly does, doesn't it, Phil?
Yeah. The king crown. I actually shook the hands of King Charles when he visited Bundaberg last time.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I'm just going to tighten this tool up a little bit more. Had to laugh at Phil. He gives me this antique plumber's tool.
These are all the tools that we had on the farm. These are the real men tools.
I can see.
Yeah, it's heavy, isn't it?
It is. Okay, so I've got that now.
That'll be probably 50 years old.
Is it?
At least.
So what you want to do next is you need to tighten this up just so it's a bit taut, not tight. So that's a little bit taut now. Okay, so the next bit you're going to do is, don't drop the tool, Terry, is we're just going to reverse it back just a little bit. Like that. Okay, so just have a look at the drum. Too tight still. A little bit more. As you can see, the drum is moving.
No, the brakes are loose.
Yeah, it's just making sure. And that's pretty good there, Phil. Okay, so the next bit you're going to do is you're going to grab your split pin that you had.
Split pin back in.
Right.
Did you grab it from the bench?
I didn't know, but I'll get it.
Okay, I was going to grab it, but...
Okay, and then we'll need your pliers as well.
Yeah, got the pliers there.
Okay, so you'll notice on the split pin, Phil, how this, you'll notice one's longer than the other, right? So what you need to do is the long one always wraps around the face of the actual pin itself. So what I'm going to do is just straighten it
Where
up a
does the
bit.
short one go?
The short one goes towards the back.
Okay. So
All
what,
right.
you use pliers or something?
So you'll go
push it.
straight down with it. Like so.
Yeah. Is that going right through the other side?
Yep. Right. So you grab the
Hiccups.
you grab the longest one, and what you're going to do is you're going to bring that up over the actual axle itself.
That's to stop it from undoing
That's
and going
correct.
loose.
Yep.
Because you don't want loose bearings.
No, that's for sure. So you got that one seated like that. Now this one here is supposed to go back inside, but it's too long. So I'm just going to bring him up a bit and cut a bit off him.
You'd be doing well cutting that with those pliers. Oh, it works, yep. Those pliers would be very old as well.
Are
Probably
they?
as old as me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're going to get our punch.
Very old tools because we used to be on the farm, remember?
Yeah. So then you get your punch and you're just going to nail that back in. That small little bit,
Yep.
like so. And then the next step, you just got to get your dust cover.
And then we put the tyre
So-
back on and we're finished.
Just about. So with your
Oh,
So with your dust cover, guys, you're just going to put a little bit of grease actually in your cup for your bearing. And then what that'll help lubricate it as well when you're on the road. So let's put some grease into here. And you don't want it too full. You only just want a little bit. About that much looks good. And just put it in the cup.
oh, okay. I'm definitely going to need to do the other side
Okay.
again.
Might just a little bit more because it's quite big.
Terry, the other side needs to be done. I didn't do that.
So that's substantial amount there, guys. So we're just going to wipe the excess grease off my fingers, and let's come over and we'll put it back
We're
on.
going to put it back on. Hey, Molly.
So here we are at the drum again, guys. We're just going to put our dust cover back on. Now, whatever you do, don't hit the face of it with a hammer. It's got to lip around the outside, and that's where you'll actually use your centre punch.
Well, it looks like other people have hit the hammer on it because you can see where it's all been knocked in.
Yeah, a lot of people just go bang, 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 and actually dent the crap out of the dust cover. And that stops most of the grease then. You're supposed to get your punch and just go around the outside. And see how I'll just tap it in lightly? And just go in so it's properly seated onto the drum.
Very good.
And that's how a professional should do your bearings in your camper trailer or caravan or whatever it may be, guys. So that's freeing quite nicely, just the way I like it. There's no movement or anything like that within the drum. It's in there nice and taut. You don't want it too tight. If you do them too tight, you'll end up burning your bearings on your axle, and you don't want that. You'll want it just nice and snug, so there's no movement within your drum. Okay, the next step is we're going to put his wheel back on, and here's his tyre here.
Heavy tyres, I tell you how heavy these things are. Oh yeah, a lot bigger than, oh, they're all terrains. I thought they might have been mud terrains. They actually are all terrains. One of those studs is a lock nut. When I've
Is
got
it?
a lock nut there, it's got a special tool on the end.
Okay.
But I've got a,
I've got to get rid of this chair.
I've got a torque wrench that I'll tighten that up to.
Have you?
Yeah, so you just tighten it up a little bit, just
Yeah.
on there, and I'll do the rest, Terry.
Okay.
And then that will do for the day.
I'm not as young as I used to be, Phil.
Same here. Oh, I need to chair myself. Oh, Oh, your back is playing up now.
How the hell did you get this off?
Oh, yeah. Wasn't easy.
Okay,
Heavy.
is there
Heavy.
is there something that goes around this?
Nope.
No?
Should there have been?
There should be a cover that
No.
normally these wheels have on there.
Nah, this one just came like that.
Did it?
Mm.
Okay. So we'll get his wheel nuts on.
They're not the standard wheels. They look like a metal wheel. I think this
They're
guy went
They look
around,
like a Sunraiser rim.
Yeah, I think the guy went around Australia with this, so I think he got rid of the Chinese ones. Probably
okay.
worried that they weren't going to last
Yeah.
the trip around Australia.
So what are we running? We're running a light truck tyre at
No, that's
two-
Bridgestone
265s
They're
by
all
65
terrains.
by 17s.
Yeah, 17-inch rims. So I got 16-inch rims on my Pajero.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. Would have been nice to have the same stud patterns and same tyres
Yep.
for the vehicle, because this thing's got 2 spares at the back. So how handy would that have been?
Yeah, that's right. If it's the same stud pattern, you could use the spare if you needed to.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the Pajero, I think I got 6 studs.
Yeah.
So,
It all depends on your stud pattern, really.
Hmm.
As long as your stud pattern is compatible
Yeah.
with the camper trailer, then it'll be quite good. All right. There's that click I was telling you about, guys. There it is again.
geez, that's...
There we go. We're all properly seated, Phil.
I got one more. So that no one can pinch it.
Yeah,
It's got a lock nut on it.
yeah. Rightio, guys. If you like this video, leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. Remember, stay safe out there, guys. Look after each other. And remember, as always, make it yourself. Take care. Bye now. Bye.